Hello and welcome back. It is me again, and today we are talking all about I, the imaginary number, the square root of -1. It's another random topic today, and I missed the audio cue, but whatever. There's more of a script today than there was yesterday, so we are on to the Keeper today. Observe the locked Keeper door because it will be going away today. And don't pay too much attention to the creepy music, that's for much later. Anyway, we're playing the Keeper, we're going to the Beast. Let's get into it. And I start, oh, with a nickel apparently, but with a trinket in hand. So I need not worry about acquiring a second one. Thankfully. Hopefully, today will not be nearly as long as that Bethany run from 2 days ago. But we'll see, we'll see. Mother is a harder boss to beat for the Keeper than the Beast is. So at least I've got that going for me today, you know? The reason being that I can at least heal in between the horseman fights. Especially if I manage to get my hands on... Oh, interesting. I don't really want that at all. Yes, I saved my fly. Ooh. Can I reach? I can. Nice. Wow, money. I was gonna finish a sentence, and then I forgot. Oh well. I'll remember later. I'm pretty good at remembering stuff. Usually. Money, money, money. Money, money. Do not like. I need a key. Where is my keeper? I am the keeper. Get it? I hope you get it. Otherwise, that's kind of embarrassing that you don't. Just being honest here. But yeah, we're talking about I today. Maybe I should actually try and recall that sentence that I lost. It wasn't that important, but still. It matters for the sake of myself. Well, I got a bomb. I want to say the sentence that I forgot was about the fact that I would really like a battery item to go into fighting the Beast with. That would be ideal, really. But, oh well. I don't remember how I was gonna work that in, but I do remember that was what I wanted to work into that previous sentence. Anyway, we're talking about math again today. This is my wheelhouse. As you may be able to tell from the script today, again, not a very heavy topic, pretty random of a topic, and I don't plan for there to be that many more math topics ever, just to be direct about that. Because, well, honestly, I've gone through some of the most interesting ones already, and... Huh. Well, that's rather nice. I have a trinket on the very first floor waiting for me. That's very nice. Now, can I figure out where the secret room is? Because I would like a key, and although rare, I may be able to find it. Or a key in the secret room. Perhaps. Dreams do come true. And one key for the road. Without further ado, let's get into math, shall we? Aw, wish I could have had that petrified poop with me, but the store key is quite simply more important. So, it is what we call the imaginary number, the square root of -1. I'm not really getting into the history of it today, or probably ever. Sorry? If that's something you were really hoping for, but, yeah, I'm not. Interesting room, fascinating. Fascinating. So I won't get into why it is called I, or when it was discovered, or anything like that. We're going to talk about how it is used and useful, despite what people may believe. There is a purpose to it, a point to learning about it. And yeah, I'll use that. I don't have a pressing need for keys, I guess, since the shops are always open, you know? Ow. Meanie. There we go, that's a lot better. Nice. Come on, okay. Phew, made it. And a dime, wow, a dime a dozen, you know? I don't like the layout for this floor. It is gross, isn't it? So again, I is what we call the square root of -1. It is the imaginary number. Being the square root of -1 means that by definition, if you multiply I by itself, you get -1. That's how it works. Very straightforward. And with that, we're done for today. That's all. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. No, I jest. We have much more math to talk about today. Don't worry. Don't worry. Will this man... There we go. Dissolve already? Well, I do like keys. And I do like +1 luck. Let me go fetch this real quick. I think that's a worthwhile trade, personally. So this number doesn't exist on a real number line, I, that is. Let's just use that. Because no real number squared gives a negative result. That's kind of obvious. The concept of I was introduced to extend the number system and allow for the solution of equations like x squared plus 1 equals 0. Let's keep that around. I do want to enter that boss challenge room. It would be nice. Would be nice. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Get out of here. Get out of here. There we are. So here's what I want to try and do. Since well, okay, it's over here now. You tricky little maze. Right, yeah, that doesn't give me anything, usually. Forgot about that. And now, we can enter here. Uh-huh. Wow! Wow! That was great! I do, wish I had more shot speed, or not shot speed, fire rate. But, oh well, that was still a sizable, appreciable increase, you know? Uh-oh. Ooh, can I get a charge? Okay, I got a penny. Ugh. I'm a little nervous at the moment. if you couldn't tell. It's because I'm scared. Get out of here. That exploded with 1 tear? Impressive. I am still so weak, aren't I? And will this man stop giving birth? Well, it is Pride Month, so I guess I can't... Who am I to stop him, really? And another nickel to top it all off. Wow. That's fantastic. Alright. And I have that. I'll save that, I guess. I don't know. There's the fire. It's always been burning. Let's see. So... yeah, I'll pick these up. Why not? Oh, fiddlesticks. Yes. Ooh, wait, no. Yes! No. No. Keep going. Keep going. I want that. So, solving x squared plus 1 equals 0. By the way, yeah, there's going to be a lot of math today, and it's going to be really awkward to try and verbally explain it without any sort of visual aid. So, because of my own laziness, I've decided against an aid, a visual aid. Instead, I will, for the less complex equations at least, actually try to verbally describe them. Hopefully it doesn't get too confusing here. But again, if you're solving x squared plus 1 equals 0, you get that x equals plus or minus the square root of -1, which is plus or minus I. And what a room! Huh. Wow. Neato. Yes, please. Get out here, Sonny. Get back out here, Sonny. Oh, come on. You can't be doing a drive-by like that. That's unfair. To me. The player. 4... no, 5? Yeah. Okay. And gone. Okay, well... that's alright. I could deal with that. Zoink. Yoink. Yoink, zoink. Boink. I kinda want that sticky nickel, but I'm not really sure that's worth it. Anyway, just going off the definition of I, there are a few key properties that you can pretty quickly figure out. Uh-oh. Don't you dare. Good. Obviously, the most basic one and most important one is that I squared equals -1, right? Straightforward. Then you have that I cubed is I squared times I, just breaking that down a little bit mathematically, so that's equal to -I. I cubed is -I. And then from there, I to the 4th is equal to +1. So powers of I, positive integer powers of I, yield this cycle of... uh-oh. Pay attention. Okay. Phew. Ugh. This cycle of I, -1, -I, 1, I, -1, -I, 1, and so on. A 4-cycle, if you will. A 4-step cycle, 4-stage cycle, 4-cycle motorcycle, whatever you want to call it. I do have a bomb. that I am considering using, but oh well. Alas. One lass. Get back here. Why are you not shooting when you do that? That's weird. Is that changed behavior? I did see there was an update. Only 3. Wow. I'm wondering if he only shoots his tears in the second half now or something. Also, much appreciated getting that luck back up. And I don't have the money to really profit off of the shop, unfortunately. The mirrored shop. At least not without spending a bomb. But it's not guaranteed. I'd rather save my 1 bomb. Personally. So if I is an imaginary number, complex numbers are then a real number plus an imaginary number in the form of a plus b times I. That's the Cartesian way of representing a complex number. So a complex number may be, for example, 3 plus 4i, or minus 2 minus I. Those are both complex numbers in a Cartesian representation. We'll talk about another representation in a minute. Wow. That's a lot of money. Thank you. Oh. Oh, yay! That man showed up so late to the party. I have a choice? Oh, well, I'm gonna pick you. Yeah. Let's just, obviously that's the choice. The sun is one of the... Or, no, that would have been Earth, wouldn't it have been? But that's okay. I am more interested in getting hit less and having a higher fire rate than doing variable damage and being able to break stuff. Personally. Maybe that's not for everyone. Interesting. Get out of here, bud. Can I please get a battery item? No. Battery item. Battery item. Maybe. Oh. Oh, I killed him too quickly. Oops. Oh well. Time to do this myself. The hard way. Oh, great. Maybe I just should have taken Mom's purse. Yeah, whatever. Hindsight 2020. Only 1 bomb left, huh? So imaginary numbers are used all over the place. Though this is a little bit of a preview for what's at the end of today. But it's used in engineering, such as in electrical circuits. It's used in physics, such as in wave equations. It's used in a surprising amount of mathematics that sometimes isn't even related to complex numbers. At least not obviously so. Such as in solving polynomial equations by the fundamental theorem of algebra. Although if you know what that is, then maybe that one isn't a great example. Ooh. Yeah, I got him. Yeah, I'll see what's in you. Okay, well, it wasn't much. More money, more health. And then, I is used a lot in signal processing, quantum mechanics, control theory, and more. It's even used in more, can you believe it? I should have saved that for the boss, but whatever. I still have another chance at saving a charge for the boss. Now, let's try to interpret I. What does it actually represent in a way that makes more sense to people physically? Because just saying that a number is the square root of -1 might not really mean anything to a lot of people, you know? Shocker, I know. Yay! I got a bomb back. I got a bomb back. I got a bomb back. So as it turns out, you can interpret I as a rotation in the complex plane by 90 degrees. And that is not an exaggeration. This is rather fundamental to understanding the concept of I, but it is really, genuinely, the mathematical way to rotate numbers, or vectors, rather. It doesn't need to be the only way to do these things. There are some ways of creating rotations in vector spaces that don't involve I, but a lot of them do, and so you get a lot of very interesting results by virtue of the fact that I does oftentimes represent rotations. Ooh. Okay, there we are. Still one more. Where are you? There you are. And one more time. Where did that penny go? Well, I must have eaten it already. Oops. Get rid of him. Okay. Nice. Sure. It doesn't hurt. That's pretty good damage I'm doing, you know? You know? Let's see. We continue. So in the complex plane, numbers can be represented as points or as vectors, with the horizontal axis as the real part and the vertical axis as the imaginary part. So in other words, x, this is just like the standard way of representing the complex plane, but all that is saying is that x is real numbers and y is imaginary numbers. That is how you look at the unit circle. That's it. That's all I'm saying so far. No penny? Oh, thank you. That helps. Get it. Euler's formula, that is Euler with an E, because he's German. 404 error, huh? Euler's formula, connects exponential functions with trigonometry. Give me a second to read this. There we are. And complex numbers. So Euler's formula, very famous, very important, is e to the I times theta is equal to cosine of theta plus I times sine of theta. Now there are a variety of ways to try and verify this or interpret it, but what this really gives us is a second representation of complex numbers. The first one being, again, the Cartesian representation, where you have a plus b times I. I hold that bomb so high above my head. Oh, I wanted to get him with that. There we go. But now we can represent a complex number using Euler's formula as a, well, as a kind of a vector, really, but we have a radius, r, and an angle, theta. I'll buy you because I'm running low on bombs. This is a polar form of a complex number. R times e to the I times theta. I'm not going to be able to make that. I don't have anywhere near the speed. Oh well. R is the magnitude or modulus of the complex number. Theta is the angle or argument that starts from the positive real axis. And e to the I times theta represents a rotation by angle theta around the origin. Now, this representation also leads to the very, very famous equation in math. Oops. That is e to the I times pi equals -1. Where pi here is just the theta, it's the rotation in terms of radians, so 1/2 rotation around the unit circle in the complex plane lands you at the number -1, is basically all that it says, but it is, of course, a very beautiful, equation in mathematics. Often called the most beautiful equation in all of mathematics. Would you hold still? I've even got this golden troll bomb. Okay, well, I finally got you myself, at least. Okay. Wait, I'm not going that way. I'm not going that way at all. I almost forgot. Oops. Let me go fill up my charge, hopefully. Over here. And not with the poop, I meant with this room. Ace of clubs. Interesting. Yeah, I could have checked out the boss room, the boss challenge room, but I don't feel like it. Sue me. And yeah, we go. So we get that e to the I times pi over 2, if you just plug it into Euler's formula, is then I, and... Whoa! Crazy room. There they go. Can I get... Oh, there it is. That's what I wanted. Oh boy. Maybe I should save some of this money for later. I'll save that much for later. It's right near the entrance, it's fine. I just need to keep a mental watch out for the rock. Not the rock, the skull. The skull with the X on it. Let's turn you into bombs. I'm just feeling like it. I should have done that earlier, but whatever. It's fine. Now, you could actually, interestingly enough, use the definition of E as a limit. The limit definition of E, which goes beyond today. I may have even talked about this before. I don't fully recall, because it has absolutely been a while since the last time I did anything math-related. But you can use the limit definition of E to show how e to the I times pi equals -1, and it's rather fascinating. Basically, as you approach e, you start at the number 1 and you approach e, so x to the I times pi, where x starts off at 1 and then goes towards e, which is, 2.7-ish. You can see how it traces out this path that approaches -1 on the complex unit circle. Pretty neat, pretty neat. But using this formula and using this interpretation of complex numbers, you also get this very nice property of multiplication. So as it turns out, the Cartesian representation of imaginary numbers is very, very convenient for addition and subtraction. But the whatchamacallit, okay, not the lovers. Let's do it. Because you know what this means. Is conjoined. I got the blue mage. Neat. Was conjoined really worthwhile? I'm not convinced. Where is the skull? Where is the skull? I need the skull. I must remember the skull. Anyway, if you have a plus b times I, and you add that to another similarly formatted complex number, it's very easy to compute the addition. Because you just combine the real parts with addition, and then you combine the imaginary parts with addition. Very straightforward. But multiplying two complex numbers requires foiling. That is, computing first, inner, outer, last multiplications of the 4 different terms. None of these are paying off, huh? That one did something, I'm not sure what. Oh. Hey! Hey! Oh. There you are. Finally. Sorry, the Empress. But I don't need you where I'm going. Yep, we go. Ooh, hello, rock. Step on me. Step on me! No? She's gonna step on me as soon as I move away. Okay, we got it. I got, like, a blue fly from that. Fantastic. What a slow fight today is. Oh well. At least I'm difficult to hit, you know? I've got that going for me. What a loser. Nice. Interesting. Okay, I can vibe with that. I mean, it won't be very useful at all. But sure, I'll take that. What an idiot. You know? Whoa! Sure. Wow. Boop. Goodbye, damage. I'm gonna miss you. Is there anything else I want from here? Anyway, basically my point is that if you take two complex numbers in the representation r times e to the I times theta, although addition is infeasible by hand, mostly. It's actually multiplication that becomes very trivially easy in that representation, which is pretty neat. It's pretty cool. Who's in here? Keys. Cool. And we leave. Let's see. Next concept I want to talk about, just some more fundamentals here. I know we're getting kind of late into the run to still be talking about fundamentals, but whatever, this is my series. Deal with it. Don't. Ah! I knew he would. Against my wishes. There we are. Nice. As it turns out, the square root of -1 is not unique, which is not something most people have to deal with. Well, it's definitely not something people have to deal with in their everyday lives, I'll tell you that much. But that's not something you typically have to deal with unless you get very neck-deep into mathematics, properties of uniqueness, or the lack of it. Whoa. He's Zoom. Uh-oh. Okay, good. Oh, I can't go that way. Hold, please. Yeah, okay, that's bad. But now it's good. Oh, it is very good. Phew, I sweat there. I swat? Past tense of sweat. So indeed, if you just extend... Whoa. Whoa. There. Ah, useless. Yes. Now it should automatically recharge. When in danger, I think? I forget. Anyway, let's see if I can't grab some luck here. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't, but I got to 99, so that's pretty neat. If you think about it, both I and -I are both square roots of -1, interestingly enough. There we are. Whoa. Whoa. And if you start looking beyond just radians that are between 0 and 2 pi, or -pi and positive pi, or however you want to define the interval, then of course there are an infinite number of other square roots of -1. I did go in the regular secret room, right? 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 I did not. I'm a fool. Oh. Well, I'm a fool that didn't matter. Unfortunately, I guess that's it. Okay. I could go in the boss challenge room again. I don't feel like it. But as it turns out, there is, at the bottom of math, so to speak, no reason why -1's square root has to be unique. There may even be multiple different representations of it, and we see that a bit, kind of, with the Quaternions. Who are the Quaternions? quaternions are an extension of complex numbers, I guess I'll go for a familiar-based run or something. Weird. Weird that I don't really... I can't properly express why I don't really like this. But I don't. Not really. Like this. I don't like having to use, as great as Lil Monstro is, I don't like the added burden of having to actually use them, you know? It sounds kind of mean. He is objectively great, though, in most contexts. Anyway, the quaternions are an extension of complex numbers, where basically instead of 1 square root of -1, we have 3, I, J, and K. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? I'm sure that's how you describe it. Ooh. But I squared equals J squared equals K squared equals I times J times K equals -1. Interestingly enough, these quaternions do not commute with each other multiplicatively. That is, I times J equals K, but J times I equals -K. There are a bunch of properties with quaternions, and as it turns out, they're useful in, I believe, quantum mechanics and also rendering, graphics, 3D rendering. Something to do with cameras. That part I can't fluidly explain, admittedly. Well, I don't want that. But I just felt like including quaternions for fun. I think they're neat. Ooh. I don't know how I'll take it. Why not? I am so curious. Okay, here's what... Yeah, it does work. The timing works out between Lil Monstro and my bombardment. Why is he gold? Oh well. Well, now he is gone. He's gold again. Well, it's a different he, so I guess I shouldn't really say that. Next, let's talk about actual applications. For once. Why? Uh-oh. Whoa, okay. If I die now, this late into the run, I'm gonna cry. Actual applications for for imaginary numbers. Not that you yourself might make use of these applications necessarily, but I'm trying to prove that I is important as a concept. And I said, yeah, what a concept. Actually, no, I need to keep that. This is too valuable, because it gives me a 50% chance of 1 penny healing me for 2, basically. I killed that guy first? That's impressive. First application is in Lagrange series, or more generally, series expansion. Ugh. Do I try? No, that could be really bad. I'll play it safe. I already have an unbalanced build. So the Lagrange inversion theorem and related Taylor and Laurent series often use I implicitly. I have Alien on my team. Interesting. Often use I implicitly when functions are expanded in the complex plane. In particular, analytic functions, that is, those expressed by convergent power series, behave beautifully under complex differentiation. I comes into play naturally through complex derivatives, such as in computing residues or evaluating complex contour integrals. I'm tempted by that. If I could have multiple trinkets. So many familiars. Wow. In complex analysis, where I is central, I gives powerful tools like... Sorry. Grammatically, that doesn't make sense. Complex analysis gives powerful tools like Cauchy's integral formula and Lagrange series, which allow closed-form expressions of coefficients in power series. These methods are far more elegant and powerful than their real counterparts, especially in solving differential equations or evaluating integrals. I've got a pizza face on my team. I here facilitates deeper function expansion and manipulation beyond what real valued calculus allows. Next, the ever-famous Fourier transforms, or Fourier, but not Fourier. Well, I have heard some people pronounce it Fourier, but those are very lazy people. Shame on them. Or maybe not. Who really cares about proper French pronunciation? You know? Does it really matter? What did the French do to deserve proper pronunciation? Oh. No. Nuh-uh. I am so saddened by that. Oh well. So in signal processing and harmonic analysis, the Fourier transform decomposes a signal into sinusoidal components. Its kernel contains e to the negative I times 2 pi ft. And yeah, you can use Euler's formula to help parse that if it sounds confusing to you, if you're wondering how to actually evaluate that or what it means. This is a rotating complex exponential, and a key insight of it is that also I don't want that. Sorry. Every oscillation can be represented as complex rotation in the complex plane, using I as the axis of rotation. I here enables compact, elegant representation of sinusoidal components. This avoids the need to treat cosine and sine separately, and the complex Fourier transform simplifies convolution filtering and system response analysis. In fact, entire fields like digital signal processing depend on treating real signals as the real parts of complex exponentials involving I. Whoa. Right. Actual boss lying in the middle. Almost forgot. I do love how I'm able to bombard him across or beyond the barrier, because my tier height actually matters as a stat now. It's not just another form of range. That could have been bad. That could have been like a health down. I should have maybe not done that, but whatever. Here we are. Next application is in statistics and probability. Hello, money, my old friend. I didn't really explain the Fourier transformation very well, but yay! The Keeper. Tainted. Interesting. Basically, you can break down any function into a bunch of sine functions. That is basically how it's, or what it does. And it has a surprising number of uses if you can represent things in terms of... What did he say? What did the boss just whisper to me, sort of? I've never heard that before. He said something again. Your store is nice? Well, what? I'm not making that up. Also, let me do that. Get that out of the way. Basically, you can swap representations between frequency and period using a Fourier transform. Fourier. And there are a whole bunch of bizarre and extremely useful properties that yields. Oh, nice. Nice. I love getting with the drive-by. Oh, it's so good. Did he freeze? He froze. Alright. So since you can take the Fourier transform of just about any function, I can show up in statistics by simply taking a Fourier transform of a probability distribution. So you have... Again, I'm trying to... This is going to be really awkward, but I'll do my best here. You typically have phi of t equals the expectation of e to the I times t times x, where x is capital X. It represents, you know, a random variable. T is a real number because time is typically... I mean, not all statistics need time, obviously, but for this representation, t shows up, and time especially, whenever you're using literal time, is always a random or a real variable, excuse me. A real number. Not a random variable. Very different. This is pretty easy so far, isn't it? I enables moment generation in this context. That man froze off screen for a while, didn't he? Careful, careful. Careful. Can he die? There we go. Well, he's not dead just yet, but it's close enough. Get him! Get him! Get him! There we go. The derivatives of the characteristic function at 0 give the moments of the distribution, which basically tell you some properties of the probability distribution that are nice to know, like kurtosis. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, I'm impressed that I got out of that without taking damage. This simplifies convolution of distributions, since multiplication in Fourier space equals convolution in real space. So I allows probability distributions to be analyzed and manipulated using frequency domain techniques. The last major application I want to mention is in Schrödinger's equation. This is that famous physics equation, maybe you've seen it before, where I times the h with the little bar, which is Planck's constant, times the partial derivative of time of a wave equation is equal to the Hamiltonian operator applied to the wave equation. So it's a measurement of energy, and it basically says that energy oscillates. It doesn't exponentially grow or exponentially decay, which is what would happen if I was not part of that equation. But by making it imaginary, it forces it to oscillate, to conserve, to change over time, but never grow or decay. It's fundamental to energy conservation that it's there. Yay! I didn't have to use my emergency help even once. Keeper's box. Let's look at him. The little guy. Oh, how pretty. How beautiful. Next up for tomorrow is Lilith. So thank you so much for watching today. Yes, I do actually know some things. I have some fields of expertise, believe it or not. Maybe you couldn't tell. I'm hoping that you did, though, but that, like, I'm actually kind of competent in knowing most of this stuff. Maybe I didn't explain all of this super clearly. Obviously, there is a big gap in understanding between talking about basic properties of I and then jumping into the Schrödinger equation or Lagrange series. But even so, I hope you can appreciate that there are genuine applications to learning this sort of abstract part of math that doesn't seem to make sense, at least in high school or whatever, whenever you first learn about I, which for me was 5th grade, 6th grade? Anyway, I went to a smart person school, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I think it's fascinating. Get it? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today about imaginary numbers. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.